My dear brothers and sisters, I would like to preserve my last few minutes of the khutbah to address the current issues and mainly the presidential election in the last presidential election in the United States. Last Tuesday, American people chose a new president, President-elect Donald Trump. Everybody believes that it was a stunning victory for Mr. Trump. Against all odds and polls and predictions, the man won the presidency. Today he is the president of this country. I would like to say two words, one to Mr. Trump and one to our community, our own community. As far as our own community, I know that there is a sense of anxiety and fear exists in our community after so many threats made by Mr. Trump that he will be banning Muslims from entering the United States, he will be scrutinizing the Muslim community, etc., etc. Well, I have to say to our community that there is no reason for anxiety at all. We all have to understand that this great country is not ruled by one individual. There are great democratic institutions. There are great measures to ensure people's rights and preserving their liberties. And therefore, no one individual can turn this country into a tyrannical country like Saddam Hussein or Muammar al-Gaddafi. No one can do that. America will continue to be a great country. No matter who the president is not the only person who is ruling. There is the Congress, there are other institutions. And therefore, one person cannot dominate the scene in this country. And therefore, I believe that the fear and anxiety that exists among the Muslim community is baseless. There is no need for it at all. People come and go, president come and go, but the United States will always exist. And the maximum a president can hope to stay in power is what? 4 years or maximum 8 years. And then, Allah yarhamah, he will be gone. And he will be replaced by another person. Therefore, I don't see any reason for our community to be anxious, to be afraid. And we all know, my dear brothers and sisters, that many politicians, once they are campaigning, they will make so many promises, unrealistic promises. But when they come to power, the power reality is completely different, that they have to live up to the new realities. There is no man on earth can change the world overnight. No man on earth. Therefore, I believe most of what this man has said, as much as we regret, but I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel it was for internal conception, to please certain people whom he was trying to attract and win to vote for him during the election. Therefore, I do not think that this man will be able to build a wall between the U.S. and Mexico. Do you know what does that mean? It means at least $25 billion. Where this man is going to bring this money from? Who's going to build that wall? When he talks about deporting 11 million illegal immigrants, That's not going to be achieved. How do you get 11 million people? How do you round them up and deport them? These are, according to many people, these were only rhetoric used during the election. When he talks about banning Muslims from coming to the United States, well, in your passport there is nothing that says you're Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or an atheist. So what do? They bring professors and additional officers to each airport to test people religiously. So there is a plane coming from the Middle East. Someone there is asking me about the 5 pillars of faith and how many rak'ah I pray the Dhuhr prayer and how many rak'ah I pray the Maghrib prayer. Is that how it's going to be done? That's impossible. So, according to the vast majority of people who observed the election, that most of those words he said and promises were only aimed at satisfying and pleasing certain people, certain voters. And we have to understand that many people in this country who sympathize with Mr. Trump, that doesn't necessarily mean that they hate Muslims or racists. There is so much dissatisfaction in this country. There is so much disenchantment by the people of this country from the politicians. Unfortunately, the typical image of a politician in this country has become someone who is conniving, someone who lies, someone who makes empty promises and would never fulfill. And that's alienated many people, and that's why they gave their vote to Mr. Trump. Not because they are racist or because they hate Muslims. Rather, they found someone out of the political establishment. The other word I would like to say, and that is to Mr. Trump himself, that after he was elected, he said that he will be president for all Americans, not only for those who voted for him. We will hold you accountable, Mr. Trump, for those words. That you need to act as a president of all Americans, not only president for those who elected you or the Republican voters. The president of the United States, in order to succeed, he has to work with all American people. And he has to be a president to all American people. Because remember, not all American people voted for Mr. Trump. Not even the majority of American people voted for Mr. Trump. Do you know how many people voted for Mr. Trump? 59 million people. Out of how many American? Out of 320. If you do the math, that is less than 20%, almost 18% of Americans. Because many people didn't vote. Over 100 eligible voters didn't vote. And there are people who are under 18 who didn't vote. So only less than 20% of American people voted for Mr. Trump. It's not even the majority of these people, of the American people. So that means the president has to work with all people and for all people. And the President of the United States has another big responsibility, and that is to uphold the United States Constitution and all the amendments that ensures the liberty and the rights of all its citizens. And Mr. Trump will be held accountable for those responsibilities. If he upholds the Constitution, the United States Constitution, he will find many Americans supporting him and standing by him. But if the President-elect Trump will not uphold the US Constitution, he will not find many people supporting him. Indeed, he will find many people, many American people opposing him and will not support his policies. So let's always focus on the positive side. Let's say that hopefully this man will deliver on his new promises to be inclusive, to work for all Americans, to work for one unified America that ensures the liberty and the rights of all citizens, including the Muslim community. And the Prophet ﷺ says, تَفَاءَلُوا بِالْخَيْرِ تَجِدُوهُ. When you get to be optimistic, hopefully Allah will help you to achieve your optimism.